Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Catchin Up. I'm your host, Jack Smith, joined today by Briana Meng from the badminton program. Thanks for catching up with us, Briana.
Hi, Jack. Thanks for having me.
So I want to start out of badminton. You told me you started playing women's basketball when you were first at Mitty and did not participate in badminton. So I want to ask you, can you describe your time with the women's basketball program, and what eventually led you to moving on and trying to find something new at Mitty?
Yeah, so the women's basketball program is great. Super competitive, super elite. The people there are amazing. And I definitely got a lot out of it, but I think eventually I just kind of grew out of it and I didn't think I could really keep up with the level of competition, especially at MIDI. So my mom encouraged me actually to try out for badminton, and I was actually really against it at first. But I did it anyway, and then it ended up being one of the best decisions I could have made because I found some of my best friends and was able to take a leadership role in badminton, whereas I couldn't as much in basketball.
I think that's a great focus. Is so once you picked up badminton, once your mom recommended it and you fully decided, how did it initially go when you were joining? Obviously, you were against it, but how did it go once you joined?
Um, well, I didn't really know that much about it at first because my only prior experience was in fourth and fifth grade. I played a little bit. But like with the coaches and like the upperclassmen, they really helped me improve on my game, and I slowly started to like love more. And then eventually, I was able to step to fill those leadership roles.
At what point did you begin to love it? How long did it take, and what caused that feeling?
I would say it was pretty instantaneous just because of like the community. That's like what drew me in initially, and then what came after was like the sport itself, just like being on the court, having like a partner to support me through like super like I guess like critical moments in the where like you're sweating and you don't know if you can like push through the other person just like makes it that much better.
If you had to describe the badminton program to someone who didn't know anything about it, especially at MIDI, how would you describe it?
Um, I would say it's definitely a program that's overlooked. Didn't even know we had a badminton program coming into MIDI. But once you do like be a part of it, like it's something that you're not gonna regret. The people there are amazing, the coaches are amazing, and just everyone's super dedicated in making it like a really good time and just practicing self growth and improving their own game.
And so you said you found your love, and at what point did you start to, accrue some success, and what did it mean to you?
Um, Well, I started my freshman year on varsity, so I was just kind of thrown into it. And I would like that's probably one of the things that I'm most proud of, just like working hard from the start. And then my sophomore year, I got to go to league finals with my partner. And league finals is really exhausting because you can play up to like 7 or 8 games depending until you face elimination. And as my first time going, my partner and I placed fifth, playing 4 games that day, like in one day. So that was probably my greatest achievement in badminton.
And so, unfortunately, your season was canceled last year. I know you told me that you thought the team had a lot of potential. Could you elaborate on that, especially for the audience?
Yeah, so we have this like training program outside of MIDI, and a lot of the players go there to train and work on their own game. And there's this one, I know for sure there's this one freshman, his name's Alex, and he's been training since he was really young. And we were all super excited to welcome him into our program, and he just like showed so much potential. And we were just really looking forward to stepping up in A League. And I know we were all really disappointed that it had to come to an end due to COVID.
What have you been doing as a team captain to bounce back and to rebound from the season canceling and moving into this season?
Yeah, so we hold team meetings. At the start of quarantine, we held like team bondings just to keep people engaged and thinking about how they can stay active so that when we do come back, we can be to bring our A game. And personally, for me, I've been, well, me and the other captains and our coaches as well, we've been keeping track of the players like um, exercises at home, workouts at home, having them log it just to keep them accountable. And then for me personally, um, I do like jump rope exercises in the backyard. And a new recent activity that I picked up is hiking. It's actually a lot of fun and it maintains like my endurance.
I mean, I think, like you said, it's an overlooked program, and I think that's very true. Um, why do you think that is, and what do you think that people need to know about the badminton program and about badminton in general?
Um, I think people see it as a PE sport. They think it's easy because you get your racket and you're just hitting a birdie over the net. But actually, I think the sport's actually really difficult to master. There's a lot of difference to it, like footwork and like touch, and it actually takes a lot of practice and experience to be really good at it, and I think that's essentially why people overlook it. But I think if people like the one thing people need to know about badminton is that like it is a craft just like any other sport. You have to put time and effort and sweat into it to be good at it. And I think um like I have a lot of admiration for the people who on my team who do badminton because you can see how passionate they are about it and how much time they're willing to put into it.
And before we wrap this up, we ask the same person or we ask the same question to everybody. Um, do you have anything you want to touch on before we end this? Anybody you want to talk about? I know you mentioned a teammate before, but is there anything that you want to touch on before we wrap this up?
Um, I just wanted to put an emphasis on our coach. She's really great. She's now one of the directors for student activities, I believe. Coach Rodriguez. She's super great. She cares all our athletes and she wants the best for us, always pushing us and seeing the most potential in each player. And within our badminton program, we have this one word called synergy, and we use this word when we want to like calm down in a game, remind like each other that you can't win it on your own. It's like a team effort, and um, everyone needs to play their role. Like you can't put all the pressure on yourself, and I think that's like one of the most amazing things that I've gotten to take out of badminton.
I think that's great. But I want to ask you one more question, actually. What does the synergy mean to you, and how have you been able to use that over your years in the badminton program?
Yeah, so I play mixed doubles, which means that I play with another guy. And I can't really imagine what it's like to play singles, just having the pressure on yourself. But I know that like for me, I have this other partner who can like calm me and like regroup when like I'm caught up in my head and like I'm making error after error after error. But I think like overall, like as a team, looking at synergy, it just shows that like it's okay if you make a mistake, someone else can pick it up for you, but you can't just like keep living in that mistake. You have to like move on and learn from it. And that's probably one of like the most important things. And for me, I know that like some games I'm just like, oh, I made that mistake and like that was such a bad mistake to make, but like it's already 3 plays later and I'm still caught up in that. And it's just like a really good reminder that I have this entire community behind me and like it's not just me on my own.
And I think that's something that makes badminton unique, and the reason why it shouldn't be overlooked because of its unique feel. But I want to thank you for coming on, Briana, and telling your story. And I just want to thank you for coming and catching up with us.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me.